host. His internet. He is in Mumbai, India, and sometimes the internet is not stable. I was in touch with him. This morning, I sent over different information for this evening's program for him. Let's see if I can find him on my...
Okay, I was able to start the live streaming. I can go ahead and start the opening.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, everybody. He's preparing for a live stream. Like I said, it's just a glitch, so we'll keep going. Go ahead, Prabhu.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, glories to Srila Prabhupada, and welcome everyone to the Thursday night reading and discussion of Chaitanya Charitamrita from the original books that were printed by Srila Prabhupada during his manifested presence. And this is one of the important issues that we present on a weekly basis, the difference between Vapu and Vani, the personal presence of a person as opposed to the sound presence of an individual. And it's interesting to note, Mother Uchisha, Devi Dasi, that I was listening to a lecture of Srila Prabhupada today, by chance, which is, I listened to a couple today that were so engaging. But nonetheless, or more or less, Prabhupada was talking about the potency of Hare Krishna chanting. And he was saying how when you chant the holy name of Krishna, Krishna is actually present in his sound. Now, I want to ask a question to everybody here. Is the message from the Acharya, the scripture? I'll give the answer. I'm going to be like some of our members. I'll ask the question, I'll give the answer. Yes. Yes, there's no difference between the message of the Acharya, because the Acharya represent Krishna, and the sound vibration that he speaks, it's called non-dual. It's just like the name of Krishna is non-dual. It's the name and the form are the same. So in the same way, the name, the words of the spiritual master and the spiritual master himself are identical. Therefore, the guru is considered to be living in sound. There he is. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Good to see you. Ram Raghava. Oh, that's Ram Raghava. Sorry. So the name Krishna and the form Krishna, Prabhupada said, if you just chant Hare Krishna Everything will be revealed in the simple process of associating with Krishna in sound. And the same being, the same principle is there in the association of the spiritual master in sound vibration. The name, the form, the pastimes of Srila Prabhupada are transcendental. But people say it's more important Vapu. And Yashodanandana, Prabhu, think about this. Someone is not an Uttama Adhikari, and he poses himself as a guru. Someone is not self-realized. He's not in the spiritual world with Krishna. He's not. He's not surrendered. He's not self-realized, but he's pretending to be a Diksha Guru in our disciplic succession. Very great sin. Very offensive. And it's ludicrous. It is ludicrous to do that. Being that we're all disciples of Srila Prabhupada, new ones and old ones, yes, we're all disciples, and some even new devotees of our group. They're very advanced, more advanced than many of the people that were initiated in the 60s and 70s. Their attitude is not contaminated by all kinds of confusion, delusion, and therefore we're stressing very much the principle, the principle that Krishna, Prabhupada, they live in sound vibration, the Vani incarnation. We stress that because that is philosophically correct, and any other explanation is wrong. Absolutely wrong. And there is no compromise. How can you compromise when the truth is there for our benefit, to take us back to Godhead by association with the pure devotee? In sound vibration, not Vapu. This is a big philosophical debate that goes on in our society. Yes, and a lot of people take the Vapu position. And a few of us understand the Vani. And that's the big difference. And believe me, when a person is bewildered or fanatical, it's hard to change them. They actually become, even in some cases, rather aggressive against people that preach the way we do. It's interesting to note, and I'll go to my reading. I'm going to read from the Krishna book to show you how Prabhupada was so transcendently positioned back in 1971 when he wrote this introduction. Actually, the prefix. 70, excuse me. Let me see this. How he was positioned. And I had an interesting experience, Yashoda. 1970, February 26th, 1970, in his headquarters in Los Angeles. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. How he leveraged himself from 66, we were reading in the pastimes, 66, the formation of the corporation, and we're jumping ahead now. He's already in Los Angeles. He's already fully up to speed. He's translating books. He's doing the Krishna book. And then he's going to move into this whole publication of the Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita within the short span of 7 years. Come on. You're a big guru. You're a big a devotee of Krishna. What have you done, Mr. Sahajya, fake guru from the ISKCON group? How can you compare yourself or think that you are anywhere near the level of Srila Prabhupada? And we know Some of us know these guys. They can't even chant a proper round. Ramo, Ramo. That's what they carry on. And we see it all the time. It's still going on, Dharma Bhava, and you know it. This is not something we're making up. This is not fault finding. These are facts. So Prabhupada demonstrated his transcendental potency, and it's amazing. Every time I hear the classes, even tonight I was coming back from the grocery store. I had Prabhupada lecture on, and I thought, why can't I remember everything that he says? Just exactly repeat it. Don't modify it. Don't paraphrase it. Just repeat it, Vishva. But I'm so lazy, misguided, corrupted by this Kali Yuga brain of mine. All I can do is try my best. But nonetheless, Prabhupada is exceptional amongst even the sages, the great acharyas in all of time. This is not a small thing, and therefore we can't minimize it. I sent this to Rupa Goswami, and I see that he's with us. I hope he's there. You see, yeah, there he is. Rupa Goswami Prabhu, how are you? We're going to read from the preface. I finished Ram Raghava, I finished the Nectar of Devotion. Unfortunately, I felt a little bit sad, even though I wasn't really grasping the last few chapters that well. Prabhupada says it's a difficult book to understand, and I realize that. But nonetheless, I thought we'd forge forward. And reading the preface, it just struck me, Prabhupada's tremendous level of realization of Krishna consciousness, how it's so far beyond any mundane conception of knowledge, because it's a descending process coming in disciplic succession. So when I read it, I thought, how could anybody think that they are a Diksha Guru and then sit and read these books and think, because Guru knows everything. Yeah, that's what Guru means, especially pure devotee in disciplic sense. He knows everything, not just something. So we'll go to that. This is the preface. Rupa Goswami, can you bring it up on the screen? There are various classes of men, Prabhupada says here, in the world who speak of God in different ways. But according to Vedic literatures, and according to the great acharyas, the authorized persons, yeah, there we go. Find out where that is so our audience can follow along. Let's see. There we are. There you got it. Thank you. So now here, versed in the knowledge of God in all ages. So think about these current gurus and then compare them to the list that Prabhupada gives here in the Bhagavatam. He says, authorized persons versed in the knowledge of God in all ages, like Acharya Shankar, Ramanuja, Madhav, Vishnu Swami, Lord Chaitanya, and all of their followers by disciplic succession. Not just by concoction, not by personal ambition, but not by posturing and posing and pretending. In disciplic succession, all unanimously agree that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. As far as we, the followers of Vedic civilization, are concerned, we accept the Vedic history of the whole universe, which consists of different planetary systems called Swargalokas, or the higher planetary system, Marchaloka, or the intermediary planetary systems, and the Patalalokas, or the lower planetary systems. The modern historians of this earth cannot supply historical evidences of events that occurred before 5,000 years ago. And the anthropologists say that 40,000 years ago, Homo sapiens had not appeared on this planet because evolution had not reached that point. Pure Dharma Bhavana, pure mental speculation and concoction. They don't know, they're just guessing. But we know from the Vedic teaching and the disciplic succession coming down from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through Srila Prabhupada. What is that history? Now, do you tell me, Dharma Bhavana, that these people that are our God brothers are at that level? No, they're not. I defy them. Come on. Prove to us that you are in the disciplic succession. Where is your authority? You have none. You have mental concoction. You have mental speculation. And you're fanatical. But the Vedic histories, the Puranas and Mahabharata, relate humans' histories which extend millions and billions of years into the past. Think of that. Millions and billions of years. You can't even imagine this concept. You can't. And before we met Srila Prabhupada, we never even considered this was possible. This is called revelation in the descending process of knowledge from the pure devotee to all of us. And these people that don't accept it, they're fanatical. And I'm going to end off. We had an interesting situation last night. I made a comment on a post. As you know, I have 30,000 people on my Facebook group pages, 30,000. And a drummer, a friend of mine, a professional drummer, and a high school teacher, actually, I commented it on one of his posts because he was criticizing Donald Trump. He was everything. It was everything that Donald Trump does is bad. Everything. So I made a comment. I said, well, he's not I'm not American and I'm not voting for him, but at least I saw the interview with him, with Macron, and I saw the interview today with the Prime Minister of England with him. And his goal is, whatever the external purposes are with him, his goal is to stop the killing of all these people. And there's been 1.5 million people murdered in this war. So I said, well, it's good that he's trying to stop the war. This guy was yelling at me, screaming that I was wrong. And I was trying to say, look, I don't care about this, but the fact, how do you explain 1.5 million people murdered for what purpose? Now that it's resolving, couldn't you say this is a good thing? He couldn't say anything to that credit of this man. Nothing. Zero. And this is what these people in ISKCON do when they stand up and say Vapu is more important than Vani. They're insane, like this guy was. I was polite. I didn't blow him off. Neil Sharma, the guy, told me, oh, my brother's in, the way he was conducting himself, his brother's in American. My brother doesn't agree with me. He goes, he likes Trump. I didn't tell him, your brother would never like you the way you talk to people. I hadn't talked to him in 16 years, and the way he carried on was atrocious. And the bottom line is, I thought, Ram Raghava, I could tell you this. I deal with a lot of our God brothers around the world, and they are also equally insane. They are. Because they're confused. They cannot connect the dots in life of what reality is. The difference between Vani and Vapu. So that's all, enough for today. Sorry, everybody. I always want to, we'll do different shows on this in the future with all of us. We got a lot of projects coming along, and I know some of you have seen them, how they're unfolding, and we'll announce them as time goes on. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava. And then any comments you want on the monologue or the class or after Nilashama, go ahead. When we get into our panel discussion. But we'll go ahead with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava and the reading and discussion with Yashodanandana. I don't know how snowy it is down there. It's pretty bad up here in California. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Vandana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Vandana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Shamad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityānanda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai. Swami Ito Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Tulasi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Swami Ito Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. From Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya Narayanam namaskritya Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Tato Jayam Mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. It should be noted, as mentioned by Vishwakarma Prabhu, that this reading is being conducted on the basis of the unadulterated, uninterpolated, non-edited original version of the book, the 1974 version. And all synonyms, translations, and purports are by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. As we do every week, we will be reciting a few Sanskrit and Bengali verses from the Adi Lila chapter 1, from text 18 to 22, which describes the meaning and the benefit of hearing this powerful transcendental literature. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityānanda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Glory to Sri Chaitanya and Nityānanda. Glory to Advaita Chandra. And glory to all the devotees of Sri Gaura, Lord Chaitanya. Etina Thakur Gaudiya ke Kariye Chenayatmasat. Etinera Charana Vandana Tere Morinat. These 3 deities of Vrindavana, Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinatha, have absorbed the heart and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, followers of Lord Chaitanya. I worship their lotus feet, for they are the lords of my heart. Grantera Rambikari Mangala Charana Guru Vaishnav Bhagavanti Nerasmarana. In the beginning of this narration, simply by remembering the spiritual master, the devotees of the Lord, and the personality of Godhead, I have invoked their benedictions. Tinerasmaraneai vignavinashana, anayaseyai nijavanchita purana, Such remembrance destroys all difficulties and very easily enables one to fulfill his own desires. Simangala charanoi trivida prakar vastu nirdesha chirvada namaskara. The invocation involved three processes: defining the objective, offering benedictions, and offering obeisances. We will proceed with our reading. Today we will be reading from Adi Lila, chapter 5, text number 88. Imata Gita Teha Puna Puna Kai Saravada Ishvara Tattva Achintya Shakti Hai Emata. In this way, Gita Teha, in Bhagavad Gita, Punaha Punaha, again and again, Kaya, it is said, Sarvada, always, Ishwar Tattva, the truth of the absolute truth, Achintya Shakti Hai, is inconceivable. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Thus, Bhagavad Gita also states again and again that the absolute truth always possesses inconceivable power. Text 89. Amina jagati vasi jagatamati, naami jagati vasi naama jagati, ami, I, ta, certainly, jagati, in the material world, vasi, situated, jagat, the whole material creation, amati, in me, na, not, ami, I, jagate, within the material world, vasi, situated, na, nor, ama, on me, jagati, the material world. Translation. I am situated in the material world, and the world rests in me. But at the same time, I'm not situated in the material world, nor does it rest on me in truth. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Nothing in existence is possible unless energized by the will of the Lord. The entire manifested creation is therefore resting on the energy of the Lord. But one should not therefore presume that the material manifestation is identical with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A cloud may rest in the sky, but that does not mean that the sky and the cloud are one and the same. Similarly, the qualitative material nature and its products are never identical with the Supreme Lord. The tendency to lord it over material nature or Maya cannot be a feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When he descends to the material world, he maintains his transcendental nature, unaffected by the material qualities. In both the spiritual and material world, he is always the controller of all energies. The uncontaminated spiritual nature always exists within him. The Lord appears and disappears in the material world in different features for his pastimes, yet he is the origin of all cosmic manifestations. The material manifestation cannot exist separate from the Supreme Lord, yet Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in spite of his connection with material nature, cannot be subordinate to nature's influence. His original form of eternal bliss and knowledge is never subordinate to the three qualities of material nature. This is a specific feature of the Supreme Lord's inconceivable potencies. Text 90. Achintya Eshvara e Janira Amar, Etagitarartha Koila Parachar, Achintya, inconceivable, Aishvarya, opulence. This, Janiha, you must know. Amara, of me. Eta, this. Gitar Artha, the meaning of Bhagavad Gita. Kaila Parachar, Lord Krishna, propagated. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. O Arjuna, you should know this as my inconceivable opulence. This is the meaning propagated by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Prabha Pracharine Nirbishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhakti Vedanta Namine Prasannaya Prasantaya Tasmai Gurave Namaha Bhagavad Vandanam Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshataha Adadana Danteridam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimadrupa Padam Bhojadulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatusmyaham Sadadasu Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Presta Sadkarumisvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityānanda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. It is important to understand that Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita gives so many different instructions. He covers so many points about his personality, the material world, the living entities, the relationship between the living entities and himself, his various expansions, his various vibhutis. So many different topics are being explained to Arjuna. We see that later on in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is explaining that I'm explaining to you this science, dear Arjuna, because you are not envious of me. Now, this is a very important point, because we see that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a description by Vyasadeva, Paramo Nirmatsaranam Satam, that this particular book, the Srimad Bhagavatam, this exalted science of the personality of Godhead, is meant for those who are free from this disease of malice and envy. This is a very important point, because the question often comes up, well, why is it that some people understand the teachings and some people do not seem to properly understand the teachings? Why? Why doesn't everybody understand? Well, there are many different factors. But one important factor is one cannot be envious of the personality of Godhead Krishna or his pure devotee, like Srila Prabhupada. When Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Pashyame Yogameshwaram, that my dear Arjuna, I am showing you this trend, this form, this universal form in my power. I'm showing this to you. Now, we know from the Mahabharata, when Lord Krishna went to Hastinapur to meet Duryodhana, he also showed him the universal form. He actually showed that universal form, but Duryodhana was too contaminated, was too envious to understand the position of Krishna. He could not understand. There's another story in the Mahabharata how Duryodhana had cooked a very elaborate feast. He wanted to treat Krishna to a big feast that he had prepared. But Krishna did not want to partake of his offerings. But yet, when Vidura, a pure devotee who was completely freed from any malice or envy, when he received Krishna, he was so excited that he offered Krishna a banana peel instead of the banana. He was and Krishna just blissfully ate the banana peel. Why? Because he was offered in devotion. Yome bhaktya prayachati. Offered in devotion. Now, this is a very important point, because in order to understand the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, one has to work on being freed from this malice. There was one conversation where a devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, how can we get free from envy? And Prabhupada's reply says, do not become envious of your spiritual master. Now, we touched upon this topic earlier when Vishwakarma Prabhu explained, one should not become an imitation Paramamsa. One should not try to imitate the pure devotee and engage in the dangerous path of posing, posturing, and pretending. This is not what Prabhupada taught. One has to understand his position and understand the exalted position of the pure devotee. Somebody recently communicated with me and asked, well, why is it that you and Vishwakarma, as part of this program, are criticizing other devotees? I said, we are not criticizing. We are fact-finding to understand the exact proper position of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, so that people would not be misled and confused about pretenders who claim that they've understood Prabhupada's teachings. But yet, when we carefully analyze and discuss so many things that these various individuals are doing, we see so many departures and discrepancies from the actual standard that Prabhupada has given. That's why we have this Lilamrita review. We have this, so I think Rupa Goswami has found that. Here we go. Devotee, how to become free of envy? How do we become free of envy? Prabhupada, envy? Devotee, Prabhupada, you don't become envious to your spiritual master. Then you will become free from envy. As soon as you become envious to your spiritual master, then begins envious. Chant Hare Krishna. This is from a conversation in Chicago, Illinois, on July 4th, 1974. Now, this is very important. Here we go. Oh, very important to what we discussed earlier. This is the text from Bhagavad Gita. Bahira jata viragaya santa chittaya diyatam nirmatsaraya shuchaye yasyaham priyasam priyaha. I don't know if this is from Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. Seems to be Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 22, Text 47. Let's read the translation. This instruction should be imparted by the spiritual master to persons who have taken the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be more dear than anything, who are not envious of anyone, who are perfectly cleansed, and who have developed detachment for that which is outside the purview of Krishna consciousness. Purport. In the beginning, no one can be elevated to the highest stage of devotional service. Here, bhakta means one who does not hesitate to accept the reformatory process for becoming a bhakta. In order to become a devotee of the Lord, one has to accept a spiritual master and inquire from him about how to progress in devotional service. To serve a devotee, to chant the holy name according to certain counting methods, to worship the deity, to hear Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita from a realized person, and to live in a sacred place where devotional service is not disturbed are the first out of 64 devotional activities for making progress in devotional service. One who has accepted these 5 chief activities is called a devotee. One must be prepared to offer the necessary respect and honor to the spiritual master. He should not be unnecessarily envious of his god brothers. Rather, if a god brother is more enlightened and advanced in Krishna consciousness, one should accept him as almost equal to the spiritual master, and one should be happy to see such god brothers advance in Krishna consciousness. A devotee should always be very kind to the general public in instructing Krishna consciousness, because that is the only solution for getting out of the clutches of Maya. That is really humanitarian work, for it is the way to show mercy to other people who need it very badly. The word shushusra birataya indicates a person who faithfully engages in serving the spiritual master. One should give personal service and all kinds of comforts to the spiritual master. A devotee who does so is also a bona fide candidate for taking this instruction. The word bahira jata viragaya means a person who has developed detachment from external and internal material propensities. Not only is he detached from activities which are not connected to Krishna consciousness, but he should be internally averse to the material way of life. Such a person must be non-envious and should think of the welfare of all living entities, not only of the human beings, but living entities other than human beings. The word shuchaye means one who is cleansed both externally and internally. To become actually cleansed externally and internally, one should chant the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna or Vishnu, constantly. The word dhiyatam means that knowledge of Krishna consciousness should be offered by the spiritual master. The spiritual master must not accept a disciple who is not qualified. He should not be professional and should not accept disciples for monetary gains. The bona fide spiritual master must see the bona fide qualities of a person whom he is going to initiate. An unworthy person should not be initiated. The spiritual master should train his disciple in such a way so that in the future only the Supreme Personality of Godhead will be the dearmost goal of his life. In these 2 verses, the qualities of a devotee are fully explained. One who has actually developed all the qualities listed in these verses is already elevated to the post of a devotee. If one has not developed all these qualities, he still has to fulfill these conditions in order to become a perfect devotee. Now, it's important to note here how Srila Prabhupada is explaining here in this purport the systematic process of how to become a proper devotee. This is very important because we see that there are many different levels of propaganda being waged all over the internet, all over Facebook, all over different platforms of social media, with various individuals who seem to be more interested in promoting themselves rather than promoting the Acharya, His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. And this is a very important point. We see that Prabhupada is saying You don't become envious to your spiritual master. And the first manifestation of this envy is people who are twisting and misrepresenting the philosophy, who are preaching that their vapu, or that their physical position, is more important than Srila Prabhupada. That's the first symptom of somebody who has not understood the essence of the Acharya's teachings. Prabhupada has taught us that Vani is more important than Vapu, but they are preaching that their Vapu is more important than Prabhupada's Vani. That is simply nonsense. Why is that taking place? Because people still have that remaining envy in the heart against the Acharya. This enviousness and this ambitiousness is a very dangerous disease. Just like if you go see a physician, and the physician says, well, you should really take such and such test, and we will be able to see what is your real condition. So the person undergoes the test, and the physician calls the patient and says, you better come in, we have to have a discussion. And then when the patient comes, the physician may tell him, it seems you may have cancer, or you may have another very serious disease. And the person denies, oh, no, I don't have cancer. That's not possible. The physician says, yes, it's right here. Here's the result of the colonoscopy. Here's the result of the MRI. You have to stop. You have to take some remedial measures. Otherwise, you will die. You have to take the measures. You have to counteract this very dangerous disease. Similarly, the expert physician, the transcendental professor, the perfect doctor, Srila Prabhupada, has given us the solution to our material disease. The material disease of enviousness, kama, krodha, lobha, means lust, anger, and greed. These are manifestations of our mode of passion. In order to understand the teachings, here we go. Another good one here. Atmanam sochati dinam abandum viklava shrubihi snavasa chichya vipine susvaram prarurodasa. Being now alone in a window in that forest, the daughter of Vidarbha began to lament. I can't see. Incessantly shedding tears, which soaks their breasts, and crying very loudly. Purport. Figuratively, the queen is supposed to be the disciple of the king. Thus, when the mortal body of the spiritual master expires, his disciples should cry exactly as the queen cries when the king leaves his body. However, the disciple and spiritual master are never separated, because the spiritual master always keeps company with the disciple as long as the disciple follows strictly the instructions of the spiritual master. This is called the association of Vani, words. Physical presence is called Vapu. As long as the spiritual master is physically present, the disciple should serve the physical body of the spiritual master, and when the spiritual master is no longer physically existing, the disciple should serve the instructions of the spiritual master. From Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 28, Text 47. Thank you very much, Nityānanda Prabhu, for this very important purport. This is exactly along the line of what Vishwakarma Prabhu was talking about, the importance of Vani. We are dedicated to follow the Vani incarnation of Srila Prabhupada, to present exactly, without change, without an unnecessary nonsensical editing, the exact words of Srila Prabhupada in his original first edition books. This is very important because there's numerous arguments and illogical reasoning that goes with certain people claiming that they have a mandate to change everything that Prabhupada has done. No, that is not acceptable. We will not fall victim to this nonsense propaganda. He lives forever by his divine instructions, and the follower lives with him. from the dedication of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 1962 New Delhi Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Let's see if I can
Let's see if I can
get
get rid of that.
rid of that echo. Thank you. And therefore, everyone, we are stressing this point of Vani over Vapu because this is the basis of Bhakti Yoga, to hear from the pure devotee spiritual master and not from people that pose as such, because they will mislead you. That's their motive. And they have their reasons for recruiting people. It's interesting. I've been watching the video of a fellow that I know. I brought it. He's a guru. I don't want to mention a name. ISKCON guru. And he was putting up quotes from Bhakti Siddhanta and then putting his name underneath, like he was quoting. So I wrote a comment. I said, this is not correct. You can't say that you're quoting, quote, and then your name, Mahatma. So he sent me, well, why do you think that's incorrect? Because you can't represent yourself as quoting that when it's a quote from someone in our disciplic succession. You're misleading people. And he accepted. But his main goal of going online is to recruit people for becoming disciples of him. He doesn't say once, Nilesh Sharma, that he's recruiting someone to be a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. He doesn't say it once. That's the same as another fellow in Atlanta. Oh yeah, he's preaching. He's got the Harinam programs. They're going out, they're selling his books. They're doing different things. But are they making Prabhupada disciples or his disciples? Because he's in the line of disciplic succession from Lord Chaitanya. Please. Please. Do you think that we're his peers, period? We've seen all the, personally, we have seen the fraudulent behavior of all of these people. And the whole basis of this fraudulent behavior has been inherited by these current people that pretend that they have overcome the influence of the external energy because they're marginal energy. The energy of Krishna is everywhere. He's in everything. And Prabhupada said, I was listening to a lecture, Rochisha Devidasi, this morning, and Prabhupada says, no one can understand how God is in every atom. Excuse me. Can you understand that, Mr. Guru? Every atom? Billions and billions of years, planets, all kinds of power contained by the Supreme Lord, and you think that you've become a member of the disciplic succession from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because a few years ago you read Prabhupada's books and you memorized them? Being a memorizer of the philosophy, Yashodanandana Prabhu, and you know it, being a person that memorizes verses and a person that's realized the super soul within the heart, there is a world of difference between the two. You can learn 1,000,000 verses and not realize anything. So I'm going to go quickly to a section of the Gita, Sankhya Yoga, which talks about the 3 types of energy. It focuses here on the external energy and the marginal potency. So we've got internal energy, external energy, and marginal energy, which is the living entity. And the living entity has a right to choose how they're going to act with their energy, because energy is coming from Krishna. Everything comes from Krishna. And we as living entities have to discriminate how we are going to act in Krishna's service. That is the point. How? What we're going to do with our money. What we're going to do with our time. What we're going to do with our work every day. How are we going to dovetail it in Krishna's service? So, text 2 of Sankhya Yoga. What is called renunciation? Rupa Goswami, if you could go to that verse, please. I sent him a reference already. What is called renunciation is the same as yoga, or linking oneself with the Supreme. For no one can become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Real, not fake sannyasi. Real sannyas yoga or bhakti means that one should know his constitutional position as the living entity and act accordingly. Nityo Nityananam Chaitanas Chaitananam. That's the constitutional position. Eternal servants. The living entity has no separate independent identity. He is the marginal energy of the Supreme. When he is entrapped by material energy, entrapped like a prison house, he is conditioned. And when he is Krishna conscious or aware of the spiritual energy, then he is in his real and natural state of life. That's at the lotus feet of the spiritual master, Dharma Bhavana, where you are sold out to Srila Prabhupada as his servant. Therefore, one is complete in knowledge, one ceases all material sense gratification or renounces all kinds of sense gratificatory activities. This is practiced by the yogis who restrain the senses from material attachment. But a person in Krishna consciousness has no opportunity to engage his senses in anything which is not for the purpose of Krishna. Therefore, a Krishna conscious person is simultaneously a sannyasi and a yogi. The purpose of knowledge and of restraining the senses as prescribed in the jagas and yoga processes is automatically served in Krishna consciousness. If one is unable to give up the activities of his selfish nature, then jnana and yoga are of no avail. It's fake. It's fake. And one should be careful too as well, not to think, I'm going to give another section from what I heard from Prabhupada today. When devotees start to think they're in some kind of state of advanced Krishna consciousness, that they're lovers of the gopis, that they're in the Gopi Bhava clique, there is every possibility, Prabhupada said, that this is a very dangerous position and you'll fall down. The real aim is for a living entity to give up all selfish satisfaction and to be prepared to satisfy the Supreme. And that's how Prabhupada lived his life. A Krishna conscious person, Rochisha Devi Dasi, has no desire for any kind of self-enjoyment. He or she is always engaged for the enjoyment of the Supreme. One who has no information of the Supreme must therefore be engaged in self-satisfaction, because no one can stand on the platform of inactivity. And that's for further discussion. All these purposes are perfectly served by the practice of Krishna consciousness. Now, this is giving us an understanding of how the living entity, the marginal potency of Krishna, should act to be situated in the perfect stage of Krishna consciousness. And I wanted just to finalize the last point. I didn't really get it, Yashoda. I was trying to get it, but Prabhupada, I'm going to paraphrase it. A devotee who has not met the standards of spiritual life, People that don't meet the standard, there is no need for them to get initiated. No need, because you haven't met the standard. Don't be offended, like someone accused us. Oh, you're running a boot camp because you say to people you should chant your rounds. You chant your rounds. That's what you're told when you were initiated, brother, in 1974. Chant your rounds. It's not we're telling you to chant Prabhupada. You have made an oath to Srila Prabhupada. So if you are not prepared to meet the standards of the Guru, don't think you should be initiated. No, don't do it. Be a follower, that's okay. We encourage you. If you're going to chant one round, that's okay. Chant 2 rounds, that's okay. That's better than no rounds, and these rounds will progress you forward till you get to 16, till you follow the rules and regulations, till you sacrifice your life in the service of Lord Chaitanya's mission. But don't think that you should get initiated because you're not ready. This is a point I sent, and I'll have Yashoda speak. Nilesh, I follow MMA a bit. Not much, but there's this fellow Khabib who, I can't say his last name. He is the top champion in the history of that sport, basically. He's attributed to being the top. And he's a Muslim. And he's a really strict Muslim. He's quite amazing. And I understand there's a difference between Krishna consciousness and a person that's following the Muslim faith. But a good Muslim has really good qualities. They do good things. There he is. There's a picture of him. And anyway, let's take that off. But anyway, what happened was he said, oh, wait, we have a camp in Uzbekistan or Kyrgyzstan, one of those. And he said, we don't need anybody to join us. We don't need anybody. We've got enough killers, powerful champions and MMA fighters that we don't need anybody. So don't come here. Don't come here. If you're not ready, the moral of the story is, if you're not ready to follow the standards, be a friend. But we want people that are serious. That's the bottom line. And that's what we're looking for. We're not looking for people to get on the train and get off the train. Oh, I think I'll get on the train right now. I like it, but I don't like what Vishva said. I don't like what Yashoda said. I don't like their topics. They're always pushing this Vani incarnation. They're pushing us to, surrender more and be a part of a team. That's what this fellow was saying. When I got a hold of Yashoda today, and I said to him, I sent him a text. I said, this is the point. We want to gather people like they gather people that are really serious, and that will make this group get bigger, not smaller. Compromise is not something we need. No, I've been around this movement a long time, 55, 57 years. We didn't get the Toronto Temple because the people that were with me and we worked together were part-time. That they were compromised or they were this or that. Everybody that we worked together to buy that temple worked very hard. And it was all Western people, by the way. All Westerners. There was no nonsense. So this is a lesson from these Muslim people where they're saying, if you want to be in martial arts, we don't need you. Don't come unless you're really serious. And with us, we want you to come, but we want you to step up with us, and we'll keep going to preserve Dharma Bhavana, Prabhupada's legacy, before it's annihilated by our God brothers. Yashodananda Prabhu, please.
Well, thank you for these various important points. I wanted to read
Yes.
from a section of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 1, text number 10. Canto 8, Chapter 1, text number 10. In the purport, Prabhupada talks about the proper use of money. There's a quote towards the end of the purport, Yavad Briyeta Jataram, Tavat Svatvam Hidehinam, Adikam Yobhibanyeta, Sasteno Dandam Harhati. One may claim proprietorship to as much wealth as required to maintain body and soul together. But one who desires proprietorship over more than that must be considered a thief, and he deserves to be punished by the laws of nature. Bhagavatam 7:14-8. Of course, we need to be maintained in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Ahar nirada bayamaituna. But since the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, has provided these necessities of life for the birds and bees, why not for mankind? There is no need for economic development. Everything is provided. Therefore, one should understand that everything belongs to Krishna, and with this idea, one may take prasada. However, if one interferes with the allotment of others, he is a thief. We should not accept more than what we actually need. Therefore, if by chance we get an abundance of money, we should always consider that it belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Krishna consciousness, we are getting sufficient money, but we should never think that the money belongs to us. It belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and should be equally distributed to the workers, the devotees. Let me just repeat that here. It belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and should be equally distributed to the workers, the devotees. No devotee should claim that any money or property belongs to him. If one thinks that any portion of property of this huge universe belongs to anyone, he is to be considered a thief and is punishable by the laws of nature. Devi hyesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. No one can surpass the vigilance of material nature or hide his intentions from material nature. If human society unlawfully claims that the property of the universe, either partially or wholly, belongs to mankind, all of human society will be cursed as a society of thieves and will be punished by the laws of nature. Now, why do we read this? Because we've had several inquiries from different devotees who said, well, why don't you tell us what Prabhupada says about money, collection of money, and the use of money? And this is a very clear description of what Prabhupada, how he envisioned his society, his mission, how things should be used. What to speak of misguided individuals with poor fund of knowledge who claim entire temples and entire zones as belonging to them, to whom it may concern. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Your mic.
The host won't let me in. Thank you. I wanted to go here. It's an interesting point here, and thank you. YE phone to everyone. He's mentioning about us criticizing people. I don't recall us mentioning any names, Prabhu, Prabhupadanugas, or Purujit, or the Bangalore group. There wasn't a mention of them at all in today's program. In the past, it's possible, but we're evolving. Yes, I agree. We're not mentioning anybody, but the fact is that we are looking for people that are sincere. As far as more people, that we are trying to attract people. Do you have an access to your phone? Maybe you could speak to us if it's all right and tell us, voice your feelings We'd love to hear from you, and we do thank you for coming. Go ahead. Why iPhone? You iPhone. Could you speak? You made that point. There was no mention of Purijit in any of this class at all, or any Prabhupada Nuga group. I apologize, Prabhu, not in condition to speak. Thank you very much. Like I said, thank you for the question and for bringing up the topic. It's not something that we mind at all, but I just wanted to clarify, we didn't mention anybody's name, and we're not going to in the future mention names. But philosophically, we're going to establish the principle of Vani over Vapu, period. And being a bona fide disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And if you're not following the standard, then go and start your own group. That's okay. Nilesh Sharma, go ahead. We're moving forward here fairly fast. Go ahead, Prabhu. You got a question for the group.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
yeah.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Haribol.
You know, it is very interesting is when people say we attract, a lot of people attract a lot of people. But the question is, what do you call attraction? And are we going to attract people or are we going to deliver people? See, that is a distinction. And I'd like to share something over here.
Yes.
You know, especially right now, if you look at different organizations who
Yeah.
call themselves what you call, they call themselves His Grace, His Divine Grace. And remember, whenever we write down His Grace or His Divine Grace, it is all in uppercase. And whenever we use uppercase HDG or HG, whose grace is it? It is Krishna's grace. How do you get this Krishna's grace? Let us understand this, is that here is Prabhupada talking about Guru Ashtakam, and especially this words, Praptasya Kalyana Gunarna Vashya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam.
Could you expand it up, Prabhu, please, a little bit? Can you bring it up?
A little more? Okay.
Yeah, because it's very hard for a lot of people to read it on the screen. I certainly can't see it, I'm sure.
Here you go. Is
Yeah,
this
thank
better?
you. Yeah, good.
So, Praptasya Kalyana Gunarna Vashya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. This is the very first paragraph. Okay.
Go
So,
ahead.
Prabhupada talks about it, that, and this is the purport. You can go into the purport of this particular Guru Ashtakam, you see. So here, we should remember, we should read this from here, this point onwards. We should always remember that the spiritual master is in the disciplic succession. The original spiritual master is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He blesses his next disciple. Oh, sorry, not this one. I'm going a little ahead. This one.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
That's all right. Go ahead.
So the spiritual master is not self-made. It is not that if anyone comes before you and bluffs you that I have attained spiritual perfection and I've realized something by some method. No. The spiritual master, bona fide spiritual, means he has to receive the power from the authority. Understand this. He has to. There is no if, maybe. He has to receive the power from the authority. Otherwise, it is useless.
Yes.
No, it is not that one can become a spiritual master overnight. He has to take the power from his spiritual master. Therefore, it is called praptasya, to receive. Prapti. Prapti is to receive. Praptasya means one who has obtained, one who has got the merciful blessings of his spiritual master, and that mercy can be given to you. So all those people who are calling themselves His Grace and His Divine Grace, have they received this? Have they got the Praptasya Kalyana Gunarna Vashya? Have they been ordered by the spiritual master to become the spiritual master? Because this mercy flows through the order.
Exactly.
And now, let me share something else. So here, there's a discussion
Go
which is
ahead.
going on in a Bhagavad Gita class in Honolulu
Yeah.
on July 4th, 1974. Authority is your spiritual master. You do not know who is authority? Why this question is there? If one is initiated, then he's accepted the authority. Now the question is, what kind of authority? So you got to refer back to Praptasya Kalyana Gunanavashya. And if he does not follow the instructions of the spiritual master, he is a rascal. He is defying the authority. That's all. Whether it's been changing books, whether it is accepting Diksha without getting the order, all this is that. So what is Shiksha and Diksha Guru? Then so Shiksha and Diksha Guru. Let's read this one. A Shiksha Guru is who instructs against the instruction of the spiritual is not a Shiksha Guru. He is a demon.
Oh,
Diksha Guru means sometimes Diksha Guru is not present always. Therefore, one can take learning instructions from an advanced devotee, as we are doing here.
yeah.
That is called Shiksha Guru. Shiksha Guru does not mean he's speaking something against the teachings of the Diksha Guru. And he is not Shiksha Guru, he is rascal. So, because
Wow.
that is offense, what is Guru Avagnya? Let us understand this. Guru Avagnya. So, all those people who are portraying themselves as initiating gurus, this is Guru Avagnya. First, offense is Guru Avagnya, defying the authority of Guru. This is the first offense. So, one who is offensive, how he can make advance in chanting? He cannot make. Then everything is finished in the beginning. Guru Ravagnya. Everything is there. If one is disobeying the spiritual master, he cannot remain in the pure status of life. So if you're looking at numbers, Prabhuji, think again. Is that really success? He cannot be Shiksha Guru or anything else. He is finished immediately.
Yeah.
Guru Avagnya,
Wow.
Shruti, Shastra, Nindanam, Namno, Balad, Yatyahi. You do not study all these things, you become initiated. There are 10 kinds of offenses. Do you have any regard for these things or not? And what is the third, number 3 offense against chanting? Not following your spiritual master's
Disobey the orders of the
instructions.
spiritual master.
Number 3, yes.
Yeah.
So you become initiated. There are 10 kinds of offenses. Do you have regard for any of these things or not?
Uh-huh.
You must avoid these 10 kinds of offenses. The first offense is to disobey the orders of the Guru. That is the first offense. If you are offensive, how you can become advanced by chanting? That is also not possible. So we can go on and on about this.
Okay.
But the idea is,
Thank you.
do we need numbers to show how popular we are? Are we on a popular vote?
No.
Or are we here to deliver
Yeah.
people and deliver ourselves and others in progressing? Yashodanand Prabhu, I
Yeah.
would love
Let
your
me
critical
make
comments.
a quick comment, and I'll call Yashoda to the platform. I saw a friend make in spite of everything, Bhagawan is still able to attract followers because he doesn't criticize. Now, it's not a question of criticize Prabhu. And I think if you just heard what Prabhupada said there, that Prabhu Dilesh Sharma just read, it's pretty clear what are the qualifications of a bona fide Siksha Guru who promotes the bona fide spiritual master as living and sound. Does Bhagawan do that? By the way, just so you know, iPhone. I have been a friend of Bhagawan Prabhu for 50 years. In fact, I was invited to his Vyasa Puja celebration in France back in the day and led kirtan with 1,000 devotees. And know him. I spoke to him when he was in prison, when he got caught for counterfeit money some years ago. So he can do that. Yeah, I hear there's something about Narayan Maharaj. And I heard him promoting Narayan Maharaj, which Prabhupada didn't want us to do. And Prabhupada sent me a letter directly to instruct us in that way, personally to me, Prabhu. So, I'm sorry that Bhagawan is the way he is. There is, he's got, I don't want to bring up the issues. I know them. You can call him up. See if he's got neck beads. See if he chants his rounds. See if he keeps a dog. This guy was a certain person who had a certain type of persona. And then he went away, and here he is, and he's doing whatever he can, but he's getting followers. We're looking for disciples of Srila Prabhupada, not followers. People that want to follow, who are qualified to stand up and follow the process according to Prabhupada's instructions. And let's see what these other people do. Time and tide will reveal everything. Yashodanandana Prabhu, please.
Well, it's a very important instruction. Just like we've said before,
Yeah.
we don't want to castigate or insult or criticize anybody. That is not our intent here. But the reality is that a devotee should use his intelligence to discriminate what is correct, what is incorrect, what is proper and what is not proper, what is bona fide, what is not bona fide. The ISKCON has been very deeply contaminated, what I call parampara problem. When a baby is born, you don't give him dal and chapatis because he cannot digest that. So they have a food called pablum, which is very fine, soft grains, which the human body of a baby can easily digest. So ISKCON, they manufactured this concocted falafel, just accept, don't ask too many questions. And if you ask questions which they can't answer, oh, you're envious, you're a rascal, you're this, you're that. This is not Prabhupada's teachings. This is fanatical nonsense, complete fanatical nonsense. Because when issues came up early on and questions were being raised of what is going on here, why is this going on? What are these Vyasasanas? What are these titles? What are these new Guru Pujas? What are these new Pranam mantras? None of which were given by Srila Prabhupada. None of which in the last few months of Srila Prabhupada's manifested presence in 1977 were discussed or given by Srila Prabhupada. It was all concoction due to false ego. So therefore, devotees should be very careful, just like Nityānanda Prabhu was quoting there. We have to get the knowledge and the mercy for somebody who has captured the mercy, someone like Srila Prabhupada. And when people concoct and manufacture interpretations, like what we saw in 1978, then there's chaos. There is disturbance. There's complete disturbance and chaos. The devotee should be very careful to avoid hearing from those who have masterminded and concocted this chaos for their own self-preservation, self-spiritual preservation and spiritual advancement. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's go back to this interesting chat here from our friend. You iPhone, yeah. Although today we don't see the criticisms, you didn't hear them. Yeah, we've, Prabhu, I'm going to say this. Sometimes we do get somewhat upset. I do. You know that. Because, and I've tried to check myself, and I do. You'll notice in the last while, we stopped mentioning these people, although I don't agree with them at all for many philosophical reasons. These people are offensive, period. Now you may say, well, they're not. Oh, well, they're attracting people to, not our style. That's not our style. That's their style. And let them do what they want to do. And I tell them, go ahead, make your group. Run around and do it. We have enough information about them. We could write books about it. We don't. Actually, we got books, but we're not writing about them, anything about them. So, you can extrapolate about it, but the principles that we're expounding about Vani and Vapu, following in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada, and encouraging other people to do that, that is the way you'll become Krishna conscious. And their way, it won't happen. It won't happen because they don't stress the Vani incarnation of Srila Prabhupada. Yashodanandana, yeah. Go ahead, Yashoda, finish it off. We're moving ahead here. Go ahead. His mic's off.
Prabhuji did.
Go ahead.
I can appreciate the fact that some people
Yeah,
feel
go ahead.
more comfortable in an atmosphere where they say, well, we don't want to criticize. First of all, we have to clearly understand the difference between fact-finding and fault-finding.
Yeah,
This is something that devotees don't understand. If a devotee concocts, for example, I've been hammering this point, that devotees in that organization should not allow bogus kirtans and bogus concocted mantras in the temples.
yeah,
Now, we're not criticizing any one individual, but we're making the point that this was Srila Prabhupada's instruction. It's not our instruction, it's instruction of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, that kirtan should be done a specific way, and people should not invent new mantras and concocted mantras. Now, people say you're criticizing. No, it is not criticizing. It is fact-finding to follow Srila Prabhupada's instruction. Just like today, somebody sent me a post on the internet. Oh, the Ritviks are just like Christians. This is just nonsense. They don't even know what the Ritviks say. They've not even studied what the actual message is. First of all, we did not start this. Srila Prabhupada gave that instruction. Srila Prabhupada himself gave that instruction that this was the system that was to be followed in his society for new people to be initiated. We did not invent this. We did not manufacture this. They concocted a bogus interpretation of Prabhupada's statements to imply that Prabhupada had appointed some successors, he had appointed some Diksha gurus. And then when questions started to fly, well, when was this appointment? Who appointed what, where, how, when? Then there was threats of beating, threats of killing devotees, character assassination. What is this? This is not the mode of behavior that Prabhupada expected from his disciples, especially these leading managers that were expected to foster a climate where things could be discussed properly. Things were not discussed properly. It was a fanatical, nonsensical, communist-type takeover. That's what it was in 1977-78. We'll leave it at that for now, and we've said several times, we will conduct some special sessions where the historical facts will be discussed in detail and Prabhupada's statements will be put. But rest assured that we will not sit idle while people misrepresent Prabhupada's statements. And this is not just about just initiation alone, it's about everything.
yeah.
About the books, about the instruction, about the kirtans, about everything Prabhupada has given. Why so many unauthorized changes from the people that were supposed to prevent this from happening? Hare Krishna.
I'm going to go back to this chat. And thank you again. It's very interesting, the point you're bringing up. And I would like to invite you to call me, 289-244-4315. We can have an in-depth conversation together on all these points so that we can give you some common sense understanding of how to see this type of situation that's evolved in ISKCON. Like you're asking a question here about Sudama. Now, we're aware of the fact that Sudama, God rest his soul, was gay. Okay, we all know that. Now, we're not here to bring that up. You brought his name up. And you're saying, yeah, but sure, people will say things positive. Okay, that's all right. And it's not for us to bring it up here in this program. But at the same time, there is a common sense understanding of how to apply this philosophy in 2025, which we are effectively doing with the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society. We are doing it. And we're organizing ongoing, building, getting centers going, publishing books, and trying to bring people together in a cause to protect the legacy. When you start to talk to us about protecting the legacy, then you're on our page. Right now, you're criticizing. You're criticizing. I call it fault finding. Now, I'm prepared to discuss it with you in detail. 289-244-4315. You can reach me on that number. Call me anytime. I work at this 24 hours a day. So call me up and we'll leave it at that. Let's get Tim Lee to make a comment since he's here. And I'm glad to see he's here. Tim Lee, can you speak? Get his microphone, release his microphone, everybody. Our host, there he is.
Hey, hi, Bo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Bhagavan thing is, it's very sad. He has two daughters who got involved with Narayan, and one of them became a lesbian, and then the wife left his daughter, but the daughter stole all of her money and paperwork. Then the lesbian wife wrote to me to help straighten it out. I mean, and that's just one example. There's just, all kinds of things going on with him and his family. So they don't really have programs. He still says, I'm trying to help my disciples. He thinks I'm the proprietor of these people and all the rest of it. So, and he still promotes Narayan Maharaj's books and all the rest of it. So they have a very small program. It's not like he has a big following. And it's the same with Purajit. Purajit is just a very small, he's got 5-6 people there or something, so they're not substantial operations. Whereas we're getting people all the time. I just got some new people in Italy. They're very on board with what we're doing. I was chatting with this lady in Italy today for like 2 hours. And she just likes everything we're doing. And she wants to just, be a Prabhupada Nuga. So that's the type of thing we're doing. We're just, one by one, brick by brick, we're getting those kinds of people who are very sincere, very serious, and they want to move forward, and they want to move forward with Prabhupada and do the right thing. And, they know that we represent the right thing. So there are other people, with following. But I just posted something, you might all read it. It's just some guy. He's a disciple of Vaisheshika. Vaisheshika is our local guru, and Vaisheshika is just way out in outer space. But this guy, he wants the GBC to start incorporating woman gurus into ISKCON, and he went to the GBC and told them they need to make woman gurus, and they told him he's foolish. So wait a minute. So he's trying to advise the gurus. He's a disciple of Vaisheshika, and he goes to the gurus to tell them how they got to do things. So it just shows how just way out in left field this whole situation is with this kind of people. Their followers think they're the advisors to their own guru. They have no idea the standard of guru or what is the parampara or how knowledge descends or so many things. But anyway, yeah, I'm not too worried about people having 50 or 100 or we have many more. We have thousands and thousands of people who are on board with this. But Purajit, just as a matter of interest, he came all the way to Berkeley, and he claimed he was going to meet me. He sent me a couple of emails. Oh, I'm going to come to Berkeley and meet with you. We need to get together and work together and all this kind of stuff. So he comes all the way to Berkeley, and I kept calling this house where he was. When are you going to come? When can I come meet? Maybe in a couple of days. He just put it off. And then finally he just left. And then the host at the house where he was said, actually, he didn't want to meet with me because he was meeting with Hansa Duda, figuring out how he was going to make his own Bhagavad Gita. And he wanted Hansa Duda to underwrite or, give him authority to do that. I don't think Hansa Duda ever did, actually. Hansa Duda never actually authorized. But the point I'm making is he came here, all the way here, and did not want to meet with us to discuss anything. So it's not that we're not cooperating with him. He is not cooperating with us. He came here, he had plenty of opportunity. We could have sat down and discussed all these. He does not cooperate with us. And then his followers started writing all kinds of crazy things about me, that I'm an offender because I don't accept his quote unquote revised Bhagavad Gita. But we that's just the way it is. But by the way, as a matter of interest, Garuda Prabhu is going to Gainesville next month, I think around the 5th,
Okay.
holding a meeting there, about to change Bhagavad Gita. So, if people want to go there and support him and get involved with the discussion there, and I think that would be good because it's a big community, and there's a lot of discussion in that community about the changed books. So that's all I wanted to say, Haribol.
Very interesting. We're going to wind up the program. Our iPhone fellow has been quite active here. He's mentioning about Purujit. Do you know how to play guitar by chance? Yes or no? Put it on the chat. I know you can't talk. No, okay. And neither does he. This guy should not play guitar and conduct classes the way he does. Please. I am a professional musician for 55 years and done a lot of work in the music industry, and I know this guy. He's playing these funky chords and singing Jaya Radha Madhava. Let him go back to the original system of chanting with Mardanga and Kartal, and let him maybe speak to us. Have a discussion with us, and let us review him. Let us review him and his philosophical position. Have him call us. Tell him to give him my number. Purujit knows me. He started in Toronto, in the Toronto Temple, then went up to Montreal. So let him get a hold of us and have an open dialogue with us, and we'd love to talk to him. That's for sure. And like I said, tell him to stop playing the guitar. It's pathetic. He doesn't even know how to really play. And I wanted to mention at the end of our class, we have this reggae style Hare Krishna that I recorded in Jamaica, just so you know. And one of our members put it up on the ending clause. Did it. But I wanted to comment to all of you is this, that all of the people chanting on that tape with me are all Black people from Jamaica that have never chanted Hare Krishna in their life. And they chanted so beautifully, and it was such a great day or days that we spent together where they learnt for us the Hare Krishna mantra, and they, by chanting the mantra, got an inexhaustible benefit, eternal benefit from the chanting of the holy name. Let's see. No, Purujit has edited his own Gita. Does he use... Okay, let's end the program because we'll never stop. But Prabhu, iPhone, come back, please, and we'll carry on with your discussion and your comments. And maybe you'll listen and figure out the difference. Nilesh, go ahead. I don't want to hold you up, but go ahead.
Prabhuji, I'd just like to share something over here.
Please.
What we talk about is, intelligence.
Yeah.
Krishna talks about intelligence, Because remember, Prabhupada in his books is always appealing to our intelligence. Why our intelligence? Because intelligence controls our mind, and through the mind we can control our senses. And that is the whole purpose of it. And of course, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, Bhaunam Janmanamante Gnanvan Mam Prapadyante. The one who has real intelligence will surrender to me. So I'm referring to this shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 4, canto 4, chapter 29, verse 5, where Prabhupada talks about this intelligence. So I'm just going to read the translation. The great sage Narada continued the word pramada. Pramada is material intelligence. Mentioned in this regard refers to material intelligence or ignorance. It is to be understood as such. When one takes shelter of this kind of intelligence, he identifies himself with the material body, influenced by material consciousness of I and mine. He begins to enjoy and suffer through his senses. Thus, the living entity is entrapped. You see? So here Prabhupada talks about when intelligence is cleared up, it is called Buddhi Yoga. In other words, when intelligence is dovetailed with the desires of Krishna, it is called Buddhi Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. And if we consider the initiating Acharya as Srila Prabhupada as non-different than Krishna, then what should we do? We should dovetail our desires into Prabhupada's desires. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita 10:10, Krishna says, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogatam yena mam upayantite. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, constantly devoted and worship me. We can interchange this to even Srila Prabhupada. I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So if I were to read the changed books and I have hundreds and thousands of disciples, can I give them that intelligence which is required? Real intelligence means linking with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When this is done, the Supreme Personality of Godhead from within, as Paramatma, gives one the real intelligence by which one can return home back to Godhead. So if you are not a bona fide Acharya, can you, who talks to Krishna on a constant basis, can he understand or can he request Krishna, who's seated also as Paramatma in your heart, to influence you and give you this intelligence? Intelligence in the material world is described in this verse as pramada, because in material existence, the living entity falsely claims things to be his, my zone, your zone. He thinks, I am the monarch of all I survey, my zone. This is ignorance. Actually, nothing belongs to him. Even the body and senses do not belong to him, for they are given to him by the grace of the Lord to satisfy his different propensities through the material energy. So, if you want to get this real intelligence, we got to surrender to the proper authority. And without surrendering to the proper authority, this intelligence can never be got to us, and we can never understand this fine or very subtle science of Krishna consciousness. So this argument can keep going on, but until and unless we are not blessed with this intelligence, how are we going to understand? Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
That's right. So we are so much, everyone, and thank you, View, for your participation today. And come back, we hope. Or if you don't like it, go listen to Purge it. Have fun. See how you do. Go heed his prashadam. We're going to be back on Saturday.
That prashadam, Prabhuji?
What? I'm just joking. I tell jokes sometimes. They're for our group. So come back on Saturday, and everybody, please continue on with this process that we're providing for people while we have the time and energy to do it. And it's a great, great opportunity and lots of fun for all of us. Transcendental bliss. Satchidananda Vigraha. We're going to move forward with the chanting of Hare Krishna. 2 minutes. I know it. 2 minutes and 54 seconds. And it's not Purjit playing his guitar. Thank you very much. No, thank you. And then we'll have our closing remarks. All glories to the Sankirtan movement.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
For our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and we're full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks to everybody for participating in this lively program and discussion. Vishwakarma Prabhu in Hamilton, Ontario, Neil Sharma Prabhu in Florida, Rochisa Mataji in Montreal, snowy Montreal, Canada, Rupa Goswami Prabhu in Mumbai, India. We have numerous other devotees, Krishna Katha in San Diego, Triloka Vijay in Alachua, Florida. And we have so many other devotees. Thanks everybody for participating. Hare Krishna, Krishna Katha, Hare Krishna. Please bring the Srimad Bhagavatam next time behind your head, always auspicious. We invite everybody to join us on Saturday morning at 7 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time, corresponding to 10 a.m. Eastern Coast Time, and we will enjoy the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra again. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.